That's funny as hell, man. What's up, guys? and gals. We're back. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit. I was reading something on the bunker is cracking me up. AU93. He's mad because I disagree with him on something. I said, don't be too proud of this defeatist attitude you've developed, boss man. And he says, as Commodore of this Auburn sports ship you represent, your condescending attitude toward those that have paid a lot of money over the years is really disappointing. Because I disagree with him. I didn't call him a name or anything. All right, guys. This is what happens when I got to get up. This is what happens when Auburn loses. Everybody loses their mind collectively. But I know that the folks here on this very show are not going to lose their mind because these are the smartest, brightest, and most rational Auburn folks on the planet. No, there's no losing sound. Why? What does that even mean? Why would we need a losing sound? Is there a winning sound? Sorry, guys. These people, I don't understand what's going on. All right, the Auburn Tigers lost. Let's see, 67, 62-ish? Is that right? I actually just wrote this whole game wrap, and I forgot the score. Yeah, 67-62. And, guys. Some things really, really went wrong today. Rebounding, huge problem. Huge problem. I cannot – surely that's the biggest rebounding margin defeat, being on the wrong side of the margin that Auburn's had this year rebounding. They're minus 20-something. Which is just incredible. This team rebounds well. I think they're second in the SEC in offensive rebounding, third in defensive rebounding. They got creamed today. I don't have any quick answers for that one. Also, I thought the offensive system really broke down, and they were settling for some shots that I think we would all just be like, what the hell was that? And just got completely out of system. And it's obvious that this team, when they get out in transition, they're terrific. And when they're doing the whole swashbuckling thing, they're as good as there is in the country. But, man, when it has to be calm, reasonable offense in the half court, things just get haywire a little too often. And I didn't necessarily think that Tennessee was killing them, defensively. I just thought Auburn was getting ahead of themselves and making a series of bad decisions. BP said after the game that point guard play was bad, which I agree with. And you got to put some of that on Zepp. I've been a big Zepp stan this whole year, but, he deserves some of that blame. Wendell shot terribly, and I thought he didn't really run the offense very well today. So Riley M. thinks he's going to need some gummies after this one. How many gummies? That's the real question. Let's get over here to our main page. Let me go ahead and put up that box score. You say, JG, I don't need to take up the whole screen. Hey, me neither, man, because I can't read anything. Not with my eyes the way they are. I'm just lucky to see anything these days. Guys, we do have some super chats coming through from some of our absolute legends around here. SSim008. What an absolute legend this guy is. Guards, not great tonight. 0 of 3 away from home. Shot selection, trash. But still barely lost, and a neutral is not away. Wardam Eagle, it's March, baby. Not quite yet, but I know what you're talking about. My wife keeps reminding me that we're almost to March. Yeah, guards were bad tonight. Away from home, 0 of 3. I don't really get that, but I don't know what that means. But shot selection was not good tonight. I would agree with that. And, just weird. It was a weird game. Free throw shooting was, way in Tennessee's favor. And I don't think there were a couple bad calls, of course. But, I didn't think it was like a systemic fuck-up by Pat Adams and the crew. I just thought that, they were in more advantageous position offensively, and Auburn fouled more often as a result of that. I think Auburn just straight up got beat tonight. And I don't know that's happened before. The game at Arkansas, hey, it's overtime. Arkansas is a team that definitely has been doing some work. They're tough to play, tough to beat at home. Okay, you lost it. At Florida, you lost the game. But today, man, they just got conked. It's a 5-point loss, but, really felt bigger than that, didn't it? I thought so anyway. Cleveland Brown in the house as well. I wonder when we'll see Auburn at their best. It's been a while, right? If you look over there at the schedule, the last time you watched Auburn play and thought, damn, that team's really good, it's probably Texas A&M. They put them away thoroughly. The Vanderbilt game was good, except they, defensive issues. Let Scottie Pippen get away with a bunch of stuff in that game. Just didn't quite keep up with him. The Ole Miss game not too long ago was, a good performance, but it wasn't one that was like inspiring, like, holy shit, this team's going to the Final Four. And so they're a little bit flagging a little bit right now. I think it's fair to say. I think that's fair to say. Chip says, just swallow some brown water. That is a very good solution to this problem. Chip. I feel like you've been here before. Jeff Barry wants to know if KT Harrell has any eligibility left. Auburn would love to have that shooting back, right? And I remember fighting with some dude. This is back when KT was playing at Auburn. And said, KT's not very good. I was like, shut up, man. He's a great shooter. Corey Dubb, one of our outstanding Montgomery bunks. Also a recent winner over on TWR, who we love very much, and also an REO Speedwagon enthusiast, I am told. REO Speedwagon. You've never heard of him. I don't understand how that could even be possible. I've been exchanging some texts with Corey this week when REO Speedwagon bumps onto our various playlists, which happens more often than you would think. Corey says, this one stings, JG. Still thankful for Bruce. Of course you are. For being both skillful and handsome. And ebullient in all cases. But more importantly, I'm thankful for bourbon. I did send Corey a picture of a bottle that I scored today at the ABC allocation, which was a, Jefferson's Reserved Rum Cask Finish. Joe is back, our friend, our Arkansas friend, who has been respectful, and we, of course, appreciate that. He says, woo pig suey. How about them Razorbacks? I think everybody at Auburn was fired up to see Arkansas put some sense into Kentucky and beat them by, I think, a deuce, something like that. And we thought, well, we knew that if Arkansas was able to knock Kentucky off, which they did, that opened the door for Auburn to extend their lead in the SEC race, and that did not happen. But I think at this point, everybody in the Auburn persuasion is happy to see UK go down. So much love to our friends there. Brad E. is fired up about Justin Powell. Justin had a pretty unremarkable game there. Played 2 minutes in the first half, got a -5 on the plus-minus, and that was a wrap. Pretty ineffective. Didn't play at all in the second half. And, Daniel Peace says Arkansas is the best team in the conference right now. I don't think I disagree with that, honestly. I think they're playing the best basketball, and a lot of us on this show have been Arkansas believers from the very beginning. So I want to tell you, Joe, that like this group here on the Brain Drain are not Arkansas haters or doubters. I promise you this. Adam S. wants to peacock so badly. He wants to peacock. He wants to push P, but he just can't. Wendell Green is making that really hard right now. Yeah, Wendell's tough. I went ahead and calculated this up. I posted this in the bunker. I also put it in the game wrap, which is on the front of auburnsports.com right now. But Wen Green, in road games in the SEC this year, is 13 to 55 from three, which I calculated that out. It's in the 20s. It's like 25% or something in that range. And so that's not good. We love the spectacle of Wendell's shooting because of how deep he likes to go and how he's just such a swashbuckler. But you're looking for something more than – let me go ahead and calculate that out. I'm sorry. 13 of 55 is 24%. So you're looking for – you'd like it to be 34%. So there you go. Chip says, oh, my goodness gracious. Losing sound. We're not having any problems with that. Let's see. This is a great point. Steve R., I think I know what you're getting to here. Why are we in a hurry up 10 points? Completely agree. You're probably talking about the fact when Auburn went up 10 or 11 there in the second half. Now you slow it down, right? And I think late in the first half, when I thought Auburn really had momentum, they had control of that game late in the first half, just slow it down and grind them. And Steve was noticing, as I was, that they're just pushing the tempo. And that's the wrong time to do that. And to me, it's like that's something Zep's got to handle. That's something that Wen's got to handle. It's something that KD's got to handle. Just slow it down. And those guys are just not slow down kind of guys, right? They're both like Trooper Taylors. They're like ready to go all the time, you know. So you got to learn how to slow things down, and that's when you wish you had that number one point guard that just ran shit all the time, right? You don't really have that at Auburn. You have this collaboration with Zep and Wen, and when it's working, it's wonderful. But when stuff gets hairy, I don't feel like there's someone to just put on the ball and say, fix it, you know, like you would have done with with Jared Harper. He did that. He had that. And I thought Javon, to some degree, did some of that too in 2020 season, I guess. And you go back a long time when Auburn was terrible, but I thought they would get pretty good guard play. Tez Robertson would do that. Just take command of the team and say, I got you. They needed that tonight, and they didn't get it. They just didn't get it. I think BP said it best after the game where he said we got, our point guard play was bad tonight. Let's see, I'm getting a text from one of our sources saying that the Auburn rugby team won the Dixie Cup Sevens tournament in Birmingham today, including a field that included Bam Bams, Mississippi State, Kentucky, South Carolina, West Virginia, and the hated UAB Blazers. So congratulations there to the Auburn Dixie Cup Sevens rugby folks. Auburn strong right there. Auburn's an everything school, I'm telling you. Cam described it as our guards went back to that selfish play again. I think I made a reference to that. I tried to be as diplomatic as possible in the game wrap. I think I said they needed to pay more attention to the game situation versus the box score was my nice way of saying it, but that's just kind of how I felt about it. Corey G in the house. He's our hat man. His life is probably at least 10% better because he is in possession of the Brian Harsin media hat that I was thrown. Said we looked a step slow today, Corey says. Why can't we feed the beast when Jabari is starting to heat up? Well, they did. Let him go on multiple 8-9 point runs throughout the game. I mean, they really can't go to Jabari more. I think that's what you're saying. And BP was kind of lamenting that fact after the game, was like, I need more guys to step up. In his opinion, he thought Jabari and KD were really good tonight. I didn't necessarily notice KD being great. Did definitely notice Jabari being great, but I need a little bit more. A little bit more from the other guys, and I think he was kind of calling out Wen a little bit too when he said, I forget what the quote was. Let me see if I can find it here. I can't do that right now. It was something about you can't expect a team to kind of have confidence in each other when you've got guys who are giving you zero, and it was kind of seemed like he was talking to Wen a little bit because it was in the context of a conversation about who else is going to step up when it's just Jabari, and obviously you think Wen would be the guy to do that. Let's see. Anthony R. says we will never win shooting like we did today. One and done. Yeah, Auburn's not a great 3-point shooting team anyway, but you can buoy that a little bit if you have better shots. If you can, I think this team can discern between good and bad looks. They just kind of get into a bad habit of taking quick shots and kind of wanting to run like a one-pass machination where like somebody rolls off a screen, feed them, shoot, and it's like Loyola Marymount from the late 80s and early 90s. And Auburn does like to push pace. I'm not trying to say they're a slow team. They're not at all. But that's going too fast. And situationally, you got to know when to slow things down. Interestingly, this is a problem that Gus had on the football field, and I think still has. Although he flipped what the problem is. He used to go too fast, and then I think he went too slow. It's just a pacing problem. Abby Laker jumps in. Bunker legend, of course. Abby Laker he's been outspoken about basketball, but he loves the Auburn Tigers. There's lots of basketball left. Needs some consistent shooting down the stretch. Ward and Eagle appreciate the content, JG. All right, there you go, Abby Laker. Again, loves the Auburn Tigers. Gets frustrated with basketball, but I thought that was a very hopeful super chat. Thank you, Abby Laker. By the way, I'm drinking this Redemption, which they are now in the ABC stores. I'm very fired up about this. I don't think this particular one is. This is their Redemption Weeded Bourbon. It's one of my favorite, just kind of like daily drinkers at 96 proof. It doesn't burn. Just kind of has an inoffensive taste. Very oaky, which I like. So, if you guys see that around, I think at the ABC store today over in East Chase, they had 3 different kinds of Redemption. They had like a rye, a super high rye, and then they had just a regular bourbon. I would recommend it personally in the $40 range. I think it's a pretty good value. Corey Dub, if you're taking notes, I still think that Russell's Reserve is better, but it's a little bit more expensive. It's probably $5 more. I don't know. Jeff B says, are we pursuing any elite guards that can shoot consistently? Well, Auburn's signed a couple that they feel like can do that. Trey Donaldson, the point guard out of Tallahassee, Florida. I think he's probably more like a Javon McCormick, a better version of that, with better ball handling. But I think of him as kind of a downhill cruiser, but we will see what happens. And then Chance Westry, I think of him as a shooter too. So the problem is that the last time they signed a guy that I think is like a by-trade shooter, it was Justin Powell, and we kind of know how that worked out. Now, I know every person is a different story. Believe me, somebody with a background in psychology, I know that. But you want someone who can do a lot more than just shoot, but you're right. They need one bad right now. Steve R. jumps in with a super chat, says, we are turning into Indiana State relying on Jabari so much. I think that's a reference to you young folks, to Larry Bird, who played for the Sycamores back, 77 to 79 or 80, something like that. And eventually made it to the national championship game against the hated Michigan State Spartans, led by a young Irvin Johnson. I don't remember the specifics of Indiana State, but I can imagine what it was like. And, BP was kind of talking about that after the game today, that we've got to have 3 people play well on the road to win it. And he felt like today it was just 2 with Jabari and KD. KD 18 points on 7 of 13 shooting. You know what? That is a pretty good game for him. A couple things that just blew me away about this game. Absolutely melted my brain. First of all, the rebounding, the gulf in rebounding just blew my mind, because Auburn is a good rebounding team and they got killed tonight. And BP said after the game, we talked about this before the game, that rebounding was the only way that they had it. That was the only path they had to beat our ass. He didn't say that exactly. I'm saying that. But he said rebounding was the one way that they felt like they could lose this game. And that's what happened. Also, a lot of people will point to the free throw shooting disparity, but to me, that's not really. The fouls to me were about even. I can't see like I used to, but it looks like 19 to 16 fouls called. To me, that's a normal distribution. I didn't feel like the calls were particularly bad. There was one in the first half where Fulkerson just fell down, literally fell down. And they called a foul on Green for it. It was terrible, but, I mean, things happen. Jeff B. jokes, well, I think he's joking, and says Lior Berman needs more minutes. But, I mean, seriously, at some point, dude, Lior, at this point, this season is like a 50% three-point shooter. I understand that Lior has some limitations. I understand. But if the guy's going to shoot 50%, I might be willing to just kind of test the waters a little bit. I don't know. It's an idea. I'm just saying. Chip says Jabari starts to go off, and then Wynn chucks a deep 3. It happened a lot tonight, and this is basically what was going on there. Sam says, why not Zep? Also, KD passed up and looks so scared shooting a 3 now. Yeah, well, I don't think of KD as a big three-point shooter. I think of him as a downhill driver, kind of like Chris Denson. And then Zep's a good question, too. So we had a really nice game. I thought it was going to be a breakout game against Ole Miss in midweek. I love his shot. I thought he was getting more assertive. I really like that about him. Today, I thought he kind of went back to his, like, in his shell kind of thing, where he was just playing defense and dribbling, And those things are good. But I think he has more to give, and I think there's games when he needs to give more. And they're trying to get more out of him. His three-point percentage has been creeping up. I think he's up to 38 or 39% now. I'm talking about Zep. And I know he's not a volume shooter, but I think he's got more to give. I think he can be bigger for this team. And I think it's a matter of him just talking it out and figuring this thing out and making a mental adjustment. He sits down and talks with Marquise all the time. Marquise is a great guy to talk to for these kids. He's almost like a personal cheerleader. I mean, not an actual cheerleader, but he just sits down and talks to the kids about their game and their concerns with life, with school, with whatever, and he just kind of grounds them, you know what I mean? And he works really well with Zep, and I'm sure they're going to have conversations about that. Marquise himself, and Zep doesn't know this, but Marquise is a guy who in his career at Auburn had to learn to be more assertive, and so he's been down that road, and I think he's a great guy to counsel players. We don't talk much about Marquise, and he prefers to kind of stay in the background, but he's a big plus for this program, and he's a big reason why these kids have the kind of chemistry that they need. Today wasn't a great example, but this team in general has great chemistry. Sam H., one of our all-time legends, jumps in. By the way, if you didn't know Tennessee fans are so annoying during the game, Jay, can you talk about outcomes / possible scenarios for the regular season championship? Man, I can't go into specific details. I know that Auburn is now currently one full game ahead of Kentucky and Tennessee and Arkansas. When it comes to regular season titles, they'll share it if they tie. So you'd be a co-champion. And Kentucky still has another gnarly game. I don't remember which one it is. They have to go on the road somewhere. The Auburn Tigers are at Mississippi State, as you can see, and then South Carolina. I've said for a long time I thought that Mississippi State game was going to be a bear. They beat Vanderbilt today by 5, which doesn't necessarily inspire a lot of confidence. But remember, Auburn is big game, and Mississippi State is a team that's kind of on a bubble. I don't know if it's an NCAA bubble, but they would love to go to the postseason, and they need a big win. And I think that's going to be a tough one, man. It's going to be an 8 o'clock game. I just can't quickly look at the schedules for the other teams right now, Sam. My bad. It's a great question, though, brother. And I think it's going to be tight, man. Auburn really needs to win these last 2, and if they do, they win it by themselves, and it's a huge season. Hell, it's a huge season regardless, but you know what I mean. Torrey is helping me out, though. He says Kentucky goes to Florida next weekend. Yes, thank you. So there is something else. Sam H says MSU bubble has popped. I mean, not NCAA, yes, but it can probably get in the NIT at this point. Jeff B, you're killing me. Crystal's in the house. Says, I watched the game. They acted like they were too damn tired to play. Interesting insight there, Crystal. I could see what you're thinking about that. They seemed stalled out on offense during the second half for long stretches. I didn't understand it. I don't think it was because they were tired, although I think your insight is good there. They look like they were tired. I just don't think that's what it was. I think they were just kind of like phased. It's just one thing idea. Anthony R says, JG, who gave me a thumbs down? How dare you? Anthony R says, JG, do you think we need bigger guards? People keep saying that winning on the road is tough, but every game is on the road tourney time. I would argue that every game is neutral tourney time. You know, when you're playing on the road, these people are actively cheering against you, man. When you're in the NCAA tournament, for the most part, you're in a quiet-ass arena. Your fans are like 1/8 or 1/4 of the people in that arena. The opposing fans are 1/4 or 1/8, and it's just a weird environment. It's quiet. You hear like the air conditioning more than you do, or just like the din more than you do the other team, and it's a lot different situation to play in. Now, the Final Four is different, but if they're playing in, Greenville or San Antonio, it's surprising how quiet it is. And so it's just a different feel all the way around. Mobile alum in the house. Mobile alum, of course, the star of our podcast that we taped last week. Had a lot of good questions for Jay Head and myself. It says, have we peaked? You would hope not. And I just can't answer that, but I have questions. I have questions that I did not have a month ago. I think we all do. And I think Auburn alum is pointing out on here that, you just look at the results over here on the left side of the screen. And, scoring is becoming more of a challenge than it was a month ago. I mean, they're consistently scoring in the 80s there for a while. Now it's, they're trying to get to 70s. And it's frustrating. I think it's because they're different teams are playing up on the guards. Mamadou, hold on just a second. I love you, bro. I'm going to get to Steve Nash. Had a super chat for us. Thanks, Mobile alum. Appreciate you, girl. Jumps in, says, JG, you are a visionary investing in War Report and staying on your game like you are. Thank you. Wish we had some intelligence on this team. Oh, boy, that's a tough one. It's obvious how we win. Feed the paint, guard the 3, I guess? No, guard the paint and win regardless of three-point shooting. First of all, you know how I feel about the War Report. I've talked about it at ad nauseum. I think a lot of all 4 of them, I speak mostly with Mike G, and I think those guys are visionaries. I think he's a visionary. And it's truly my pleasure to have been the first person to jump in with them, and I support what they do. They're good dudes, doing it the right way. They're not out here trying to talk TMZ BS. They're just talking real and being credible about it, and I like that a lot. As far as this team, intelligence on the team, I don't. To me, it's not intelligence. To me, it's just kind of you get in these bad habits, particularly on the offensive end. Defensively, I think they're pretty solid most of the time, but offensively, they just get in these ruts, and I think it's led by Wen. I think it's KD, and I think it's Zepp not being assertive enough, and him kind of being like almost acting like he's a backup, and he's just there to kind of service the other guys, almost like he's a setter in volleyball, And he can be more than that, and they need him to be more than that, because someone's got to tell Wen, dude, stop. In this situation, we're up 11. Second half, on the road, quiet as hell. We don't need to take a 27-foot three-point shot. There's no reason for that. Let's just do what we do and get a good percentage shot and just keep pushing, keep pounding. Stop going for the sniper shots. You got to know. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it. And I think that there's a lot of pressure now that's on Zep Jasper, I think, to be more of a leader and to control this thing a little bit more. Steven says he agrees with me that Zep has the cool head. He does. I mean, he's the best ball handler. He's the best technical ball handler. Wen is a downhill driver / sniper from three. He's kind of like a Javon with a deep shot. But Zep is the guy, man. Zep is the Jared from a ball handling perspective, not the shooting perspective. But I do think he can be. I do think Zep's got it. His three-point percentage is rising. He had a great game against Ole Miss. It's there. Just got to unlock it. Brad E. is questioning me about servicing the other guys. You know what I mean. He wants to distribute and get them in a great position to score. And it's you love it. You love it in a way. It's an unselfish approach to basketball. Oh, wow. All right. That's great, man. Getting a text from Corey saying that Jason Caldwell, longtime friend of mine, and Brian, we've known him, 25 years now. I love Jason Caldwell like a brother. Says he's doing the AU baseball call tonight with Brad Law. Doing a damn fine job. That's awesome. I am absolutely fired up about that. He's a legend. He would definitely be on Mount Rushmore of Auburn writers, in my opinion. And Jason Caldwell's he's as good as they get, man. And you don't hear much about him. He was Sports Writer of the Year this year, so, I mean, you can't really say he's unknown. And all you guys know him, but he doesn't. He deserves even more credit. Anyway, Auburn alumni talking about probably talking about Zep. He's a good shooter, yet he almost always has shots in the single digits in a game. Yeah, I mean, he has like 2 or 3. Steve R., this is a good point, actually. Not sure we need to make a deep run in the SEC tournament, need rest more than a higher seed. I think whatever seed Auburn has going into Tampa, if 2 wins will seal it, from my perspective. If you go in there and lay an egg, it might drop 1. Or maybe 2, I don't know. But you go in there and you win a couple, that's enough. I just think when it's Auburn and you're establishing yourself as a blue blood in this league, I think you've got to go and continue to push. And every opportunity you have to kind of win something, to get some hardware to put in the locker or in the shelf, you know what I mean? You do it. There you go. Rain 8689. Legend. We need tournament energy. War Damn Eagle. True. Let's just not get carried away, Rain. And I know you're not going to. I know the people on this show are not going to. But let's not get carried away. It was a bad game. They didn't play very well. They've had trouble on the road lately. Even the games that they won, been pretty damn close. I'm talking about the Missouri game. I'm talking about the Arkansas. Well, no, the Georgia game was way too close for that team. So there's questions. But let's just not lose our shit here. It's still a 25-win Auburn team. 13-3 in the league. 2 games to go. They got a 1-game lead. I mean, it's pretty good. So just work on it. Mobile reminds me she wasn't the only star on the show last week. That is true. We had several. My wife was just talking today about how much she enjoyed meeting Pocket Watch and Canoe Man, the Canoe Man. 2 guys who were really, really cool to talk to the other day. I had never met them before. Yeah, Hayden is in the house. What's up, Hayden? Says, what up, JGT? Tough one, but geez, hope it isn't lost. Hope isn't lost. Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. No reason to lose our mind. Absolutely no reason to lose our mind. Kevin B says, joined late because I had to hoof it up hills both ways from the game. Did you mention why the rebounding was so lopsided? Well, so in the first half, or at least in the first, let's say 10, 15 minutes of the first half, I felt like Auburn wasn't committed to rebounding well. I mean, it sounds weird, but they were committing bodies or players to leaking out, and they were trying to kind of catalyze transition opportunities, which, is cool. That's one of the big ways that they get ahead of teams, particularly on the road. Auburn is at its best in transition, so they were leaking out to try to get transition-y. Problem is that Tennessee was rebounding very aggressively, and so if it's 4 or 5 rebounders against 3, which is the way it was a lot for Auburn, you're going to lose a lot of those. And Auburn lost a lot of them and got behind on the rebounding count. I think it was 6-0 at one point, like 15-3 at one point. And I just never really improved. I didn't necessarily think they were leaking out as much later, but there just were a lot of long rebounds that just kind of went back to them. And I think in situations like that, you just got to credit them for hustling. I thought Tennessee played really hard today, and I don't think they're as good as Auburn. I really don't, but they played a better game today. They knew what they were doing. They got to the 50-50 balls. They out-rebounded Auburn, out-rebounded the mess out of Auburn. It wasn't by 2. It was by, 20-something? 31-54, guys. Good golly, Miss Molly. So I don't have a great answer for that, except it was numbers when I was watching, brother. So in a way, you kind of wonder, like, okay, well, BP, why wouldn't you then, kind of shore it up and have those guards say, get in there and get some boards? I don't know. And also, Stephen N. says, I saw Cardwell give up on a lot of box outs and rebounds. Seems like he needs a kick in the ass. I thought he was terrible today. I thought Dillon was just out of his mind. There were a couple possessions in the second half where it was close. And it was during the little stagnation period. Auburn went like 5 or 6 minutes without a point. And I wrote this in the game wrap. I said, if you're at the 20-second mark on the shot clock, you're playing for the Auburn Tigers, and there's not a high screen, and the ball's not in Jabari's hands, that's a fucking problem. Like, there needs to be an alarm. You talk about quarterbacks. They got to have that internal clock to know you got to get the ball out. I feel that way with the point guards. If you're at the 22nd point on the shot clock and there's no screen, something's fucked up. Like, you need to figure out what's going on. And they would just let it go. There were 2 times, I'm getting back to Dillon now, there were 2 situations where Dillon was supposed to come out for a high screen because it's usually the center. And he's just dawdling. And I think he's like already starting to think about how I'm going to box out and get a rebound for a shot that's not even up yet. Like, it's just, he's not, you know what I mean? He just gets a little carried away, I think. And they needed Walker in there, and Walker had gotten his 3rd foul, and they decided to sit him a little bit. It's amazing how different it is with Walker because Walker's positioning is terrific, and then with Dillon, it's not. And we know Dillon is not anywhere near Walker Kessler. We know that. Dillon's a backup. He's a backup. He's a hype guy. He's a hype guy. They needed him to be a little bit more than that, and he wasn't tonight. Just my opinion. This is a great point Auburn alumni made here. I know it's been a minute since he posted it, but I'm just now getting to it. Wendell has to understand, Auburn alumni says, if his shot isn't falling, he needs to be more of a creator/distributor for others. It's absolutely true. There's going to be nights when your shit's not falling. And you can't just be like, well, I'm going to keep shooting, fuck it. I'm going to keep extending my distance out. No, that's not how you do it. You gain confidence with easier shots, with better shots, higher percentage shots, and then you work your way back out. That's the way it goes. That's how it's done. That's how the people do it. Brad E. jumping in with a super chat. Of course, the best of all the Easterwoods. Well, except for his wife. His wife's the best, but he says Caldwell needs to be a special guest. Jason Caldwell's welcome on this show anytime. I mean, he works for a competing website, but, it's not really a big deal. If I see Jason, we're dabbing up, and he and I have very, very similar opinions. Okay, the exact same opinion on a lot of the things that are going on in the Auburn sphere that piss people off. Anyway. Yeah. And he and Brian are even tighter than me and Jay, so it's all good. We love him. Corey Weber says something about Sonny DeShara. The guy's been an absolute maniac. He is just seeing the ball so well right now for the Auburn Tigers, and he's been having a lot of extra base hits. Adam S. wants to know, JGT, can you talk about Flanny and how he fits with his team? Great question. Does he grow and become more offensive in March, or do you hope his defense is enough for this team? Absolutely befuddling what's going on with Al. I can't believe, seriously, how many games has he played this year? 20? 25? I don't know. I'm looking. Let's see. I can pull this up very quickly. Al Flanagan has played 17 games this season. So he's 17 games into his year. He has started the last 15 in a row. No, 14 in a row. And he is still just completely clueless out there. He hasn't been a double-digit point since the A&M game. And he has been his assist-to-turnover ratio is just absolute dog shit these last 5 games. It is 6 assists and 12 turnovers. I look, man, I can't really change my opinion on the kid. I love him. I think he's got the ability. I know he's got the ability. He's a wonderful human being. He's a very calm, introspective dude, but he's a good dude. He's super frustrated by this whole thing. He doesn't feel like he's quite exactly the same player right now, which I think is a function of the layoff versus anything wrong with his Achilles. And it's just that 2%, man. That 2% he lost by being inactive for 6 weeks is the 2% he hasn't gotten back. And it's that 2%, man. It's that 2%. And I personally, I cannot fault BP for doing this. I cannot fault BP for running him out there and playing Al Flanagan 20 to 25 minutes a game. Let's see, tonight he got 25. Because you feel like it is a investment in the future that keep playing him and he's going to find his way and he's going to be that guy we need. Because he's been that guy. He was that guy almost all last year. One of the great improvement stories in Auburn basketball history, in my opinion, because he was kind of trash as a freshman and he was not sus at all last year. He was really, really good. He gets that freak injury and now he's just lost. I mean, defensively, I think he's still pretty good, but you just want him to be assertive on the attacking end, and he's not there, and he misses too many bunnies. He missed a couple bunnies today. Just basic layups, and it's just in his head, and I know he's very frustrated off the court, too. He needs a sports psychologist. I mean, no shit, man. I mean, really. He's a great guy. He's going to get there, man. It's just a matter of how long is it going to take. Mobile Alum with another super chat. What do you think about Harsin traveling with the team, old dog learning new tricks? I would definitely give credit to Harsin on that. And in addition to that, it wasn't just that he fucking went up there with the team. He was mingling with people. I know this because some of the bunks had messaged me pictures. They were very proud of this, that they got pictures with Harsin. This is last night. So he was around, mixing it up with the fans, giving a shit about the fans. Like, hell yeah. I thought this was really good. Rain says, do you think Zepp's hesitancy comes from the rotation? It's like he's just trying to perform his role until Wins checks in. I think that's part of it. Yeah, I really do. I feel like he looks around at this team and says, Jabari's a stud. Walker Kessler's a stud. KD's a stud. My best role is to facilitate them, to make them even more alluring, make them shine even brighter, which is a great attitude to have. But this team needs his shooting, and I'm telling you, he's got it. It's not just a hunch. The numbers are there. This isn't JG just talking out of his ass. I'm telling you, the numbers are there. Zepp's at 36% this season. You don't really feel like you're a real weapon from three unless you're at 40. I mean, you know what I'm saying. Jabari's at 42% right now. But I think Zepp's a 40% shooter. I think he's going to be there. I think he's been improving lately, and he just needs to be more assertive. I just still think there's a part of him that's like, I'm this dude from College of Charleston that worked his way up, and Jabari Smith is this, future NBA superstar. And Walker Kessler is this future NBA superstar, which I'm not sure he is, but they think he is. And I almost think it's like an intimidation thing. Or maybe you could look at it as a deference thing. I'm deferring to them. There's any way to go about it. But, Rain, I think you're onto something there, brother. I really do. Auburn Alumni says the poor guard play is amplifying the lacking scoring spark from Devin/Flanny as well. If either was consistent from three, that would be a big help and offset guard deficiency shooting-wise. Absolutely. I mean, obviously the less shooting the three, the better when it comes to Devin, in my opinion. And he took a couple today, and I was like, no, please, God, don't. Don't do it. Or did he take one? I know he took one, and I was sitting there going, what are you doing, bro? No, just one. 0 for 1 I can deal with Dev. But then he's 0 for 1, 0 for 3 from the floor. And usually has a couple tip ins or, tip slams or whatever. He didn't have any of that today. So he was just kind of a 0. I don't know, man. It is a little bit of a funk, though. Anonymous says, does Zep have a COVID year? The answer for all of these kids is yes. I mean, everybody who's not a freshman right now. So Zep has already said he's coming back next year. So he'll be here next year for what it's worth. Steven says, JG, I'll pour one out of my Ocean's Jefferson's for that truth. Hey, that's a good bourbon there, bro. I got some of the Jefferson's rum cask finish today. Actually, I should say my wife got it. We walked in and they had it, and I was kind of like, I wasn't really that wet about it. And Courtney was like, really? Where? I was like, well, shit, girl, hold on. We got plenty for you. She was fired up. Jeff B says, give me more Jalen Williams. Yeah, he got a couple shifts today, but really wasn't a factor, was he? 0 for 1 from the floor, 5 minutes to play. He's an okay 3-point shooter, but to me, he's just kind of a worker, inside. I feel like he could have gotten a little bit more playing time today. Let's see. Kevin B has some questions. Corey was just kind of saying earlier he was fired up about Harsin traveling with the team and just kind of learning some stuff from Bruce about how to market and how to at least portray yourself as giving a shit. And I think Kevin B was a little confused. What do you mean about Harsin? Don't get the context. Just want to make sure I got Corey straightened out on that one. Stu Pup, of course, my man, an absolute legend. Keeping the streak alive. If you don't share the ball, offense stalls. How often does BP say it, right? We're at our best when multiple people are contributing. And they're also at their best when the offense doesn't stagnate. And there aren't high screens and you're sitting there going, what the hell are we running? I mean, they're over there calling stuff, whether it's, I'm not going to say what it's called. Don't want to get in trouble. Let's see, Quan in the house. What's up, Quan? With the Moroccan avatar. I like that. Morocco. Who's my favorite player from Morocco? Hakim Ziyech is my favorite player from Morocco. Regardless of this game tonight, our team never loses hope in each other and continue to fight whether they lose or win. I love it. War Damn Eagle. I love the spirit, Quan. That's great stuff, man. Hope you're a Hakim Ziyech fan. Ravine in the house as well. I know he made this super chat a little while ago, but I'm just now getting to it because I babble. I'm sorry about that, bro. Ravine, of course, one of our all-time favorite channel legends here at the Brain Drains. Have to say I'm disappointed. We've got to have an answer to get out of these scoring droughts. BP was kind of making that. That was the last thing he said with Andy tonight. We've got to figure out a way to get out of this. It's been a question for too long. We still got time. Good stuff there, Ravine. I agree. I mean, they got to find a way to fix this situation. Let's see. Cristiano retweeted something from Icy Wen, obviously Wen Green's Twitter handle. We're going to be good. I'm going to get right. Believe that. Stay where you are. Sorry. Stay where you at now. 100% hashtag God first. So, hey, Wen knows some stuff's up, Wen knows some stuff is up. And they know they need to improve. When you get your butt beat like this, you know. Let's see. Anthony R says, yeah, he was hurt. He's talking about Flanny. Yeah, he was hurt last year, JG, but he was the guy last year. This year, it's like he's the fifth option that could be missing with him mentally speaking about Flanagan. Oh, you're speaking about Flanagan. Yes. He's just got to get into that rhythm, man. I'm telling you, he's there. He can do this. We know he can do this. He's just got to get mentally right. And they don't have anybody else at 3, man. It's either him or Chris Moore or I guess Dev. So they're just going to throw him out there and let him figure it out. And I know this has been going on a long time, and I know even reasonable, rational people can look at this and say, God dang, man, seriously, we're 20 games in or 17 games in. It ain't working. You still can't leave him. You've just got to keep hoping. Because he's there. You know he can do it. James Taylor Studio says, JG, can I ask the simple question? Why are there so many head cases on this team? It's not Jabari nor Walker Kessler, but there seems to be a lot of head cases. I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure that I know of a head case on this team. No shit. I mean, KD's crazy. I mean, in a good way, but I don't think he's a head case. Jabari, no. Zep, I don't even really know what do you mean by head case? Like, head case to me is like that shooting guard they had like 4 or 5 years ago, TJ Dunnins. That was a head case. Kareem, head case. Nobody like that. There's nobody like that. I mean, I understand maybe you're talking about Zepp, but head case is not the right word for me. I don't know. I don't really see it, James Taylor. War Eagle 0008. Apparently, I missed a super chat from him, which makes me very sad because he is such an incredibly awesome supporter of everything we do here, and I'm disgusted that I missed that. How in the world could that happen? I'm going back searching for it, my man. I would never do that to you on purpose, ever. Never one time in my life would I do that. I'm looking, bro. Oh, God, I feel so sick. I saw it, too, when it came through. It rings a bell, man. I can't find it. Can you guys, seriously, can you get on this? Make it right. Seriously, make it right. I got so much going on up here when I'm running the show. I miss these sometimes, and it makes me feel terrible. I'll feel terrible about it all night now. War Eagle, man. Here it is. I got it. Jeez Louise, how in the world could I miss this? I'm sorry, brother. You know I love you, man, and I appreciate you. Says, sorry I'm late, team. Not sure why Zepp doesn't run the show late in games. Better distributor and better going to the rim. Don't know about going to the rim, but I agree with everything else. He is definitely a better distributor. He's a better technical ball handler. And I also think he has better awareness of just like what needs to happen offensively on this possession, that possession, that possession. I do. So to me, you're right. But for whatever reason, like remember at the Florida game, they did not put the ball in his hands at the end. He wasn't even really out there. He wasn't a factor. And so they know something I don't. They work with him all the time. So maybe they're seeing something that I don't see. You know, there might be more to the story. But it's not because Zepp's a weirdo or anything. I just think that they love, like Wen's got that kind of special part of him. You know what I mean? And Zepp doesn't. Zepp's not a sexy player, so to speak, and Wen is. He sure wasn't sexy tonight, but. And I mentioned earlier, you probably missed it, War Eagle 0008, but so far this season on the road, SEC road games, Wen is 13 of 55 from 3, which we worked out earlier, right, guys? Did you guys double-check that? 24%, I'm told. That's 24%. Not good. We're looking for about 35 to 40, and he's at 24, so got some issues there. Mobile alum coming through again. She's just amazing. Do you see this team fixing these issues before the tournament? Boy, that's a good question. The rebound. So you look at what happened tonight, right? So rebounding, that's fixable, 100%. Because Auburn has won the rebounding battle probably 90% of the time this year. They have the people to do it. They have the system to do it. They're going to be fine. They did not get the job done tonight. But I think this is one of those moments where you can say, this is what happens when shit goes wrong. This is what happens when shit goes right. So let's do it right. That's fixable. The 3-point thing to me is that's more complicated when Mobile alum because there's not some special guy you can just put in there and say, oh, there's a 40% shooter, and he's going to help us right now. So Jabari's your number 1 3-point shooter, which is kind of weird because he's also 6'10" and he's a good power forward. And then your next best choice is probably, they think their next best choice is Wen. I think their next best choice is Zepp. If Auburn does not make the Final Four, we're going to say that they were 1 shooter short. I can already feel it coming. And I think it's true. Let's say you take out Dev, or you trade Chris Moore in for somebody who's all they got to do is shoot 30% from 3 and play okay defense. Not great, just okay. Like in the NBA, I'd take somebody like Danny Green. If you guys aren't NBA fans, you're like, who the fuck is Danny Green? He played for the Spurs for a long time, and he's just kind of a 3-point shooting forward who gives you some defense. That's all I need. That's all I need. Don't have it. Don't have it right now. And I think it hurts. But look, man, they have lots of other things, too. They have probably the defensive player of the year in all of college basketball in Walker Kessler. They have Jabari, who's probably the most talented player ever to play at Auburn. So that's a good thing. And they have Wendell Green, who is balls to the wall, confident every single day of his life. Same thing for KD. They've got weapons. They have stuff that other teams don't have. It's still a great team. Tennessee's got problems. Everybody's got problems. Auburn ain't the only one. And I'm not talking, obviously we can look at Vanderbilt and say, yeah, they got problems. You look at Georgia and say, yeah, they have problems. Dude, Kentucky has problems. Kentucky did not sack up and win that game today. They needed it really bad. And, of course, Ty Washington's like serially injured. I don't love their depth. Arkansas, I don't love their big man play. They don't really have any. They're super guardy, whereas Auburn's kind of super forwardy, right? It's kind of different issue. Everybody's got problems, man. I mean, Purdue lost today, to Michigan State in a game where I didn't think they managed it real well. War Report jumping in. Mike G, I'm sure. All is not lost, but, man, we have not been good in the last 2 minutes. We don't have the same situational awareness. We don't seem to have the situational awareness when the game is close at the end. You're right. It's particularly on the road. We just haven't seen that Florida game I thought was mismanaged. In the fact that when panicked, I think he's the wrong guy to have on the ball there. Anthony R says, JG, it seems like Kessler backs down when a center is going at him. What do you think? Going back to the Florida game, Castleton didn't back down. Castleton, he had a good game against Walker, but I don't really feel like Walker backs down. The guy's like a walking double-double. What did he finish with tonight? I mean, he didn't have a great night tonight. 8 points, 5 boards, 4 blocks, 4 assists is great for him. That's the difference, man. The gulf between Walker and Dillon is just massive. I just wish Dillon was a little bit more aware, Auburn alumni says, yeah, one Bryce Brown, one KT Harrell on this team, and we're golden. Yeah, I agree. And I think you see the holes. I mean, Devin is supposed to be that guy, and he's not. Chris Moore is supposed to be that guy, and he's not. You know what I'm saying? And not hating on them. I mean, it happens. Just need one more shooter. One more 3-and-D. Auburn alumni says, Lord have mercy, we would have been hell on wheels with J.D. Note in our backcourt. Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty good. Oh, wait, I did that. My bad. I'm going to have people mad at me. Jamal P. says, the issue to be fixed is run more press to help our smaller guards and play Berman and Leopard. There's an idea I hadn't really considered. Play Chandler Leopard more. Okay. He's a good shooter. Okay, War Report. Mike G, getting down to business here. JG, what do we have to do now to secure a number 1 seed in the tournament? Good question. I think they need to go ahead and you've got to be co-champion of the SEC, so that means you got to split these games at minimum or win them both. And then I think you need at least 1 win in Tampa, probably, let's call it 2. 2 wins in Tampa plus a co-title. I think you got a number 1 seed right there, in my opinion. That's probably the minimum. If they go ahead and win the conference outright, let's say they win these next 2 and win it by 1 game, I think they got a number 1 wrapped up. If you're a co-champion, I think you got to do a little bit in Tampa. I personally don't see a huge difference between being a 2 and being a 1 in the SEC, in the NCAA tournament. I don't. If you're going to be the number 1 overall seed, that's nice to have. But if you're like the 4th number 1 overall seed, I don't know if there's much difference there. Let's see. Digital Tiger, great question. What do you think about our new wide receiver coach? Thank you for that question. Ike Hilliard was hired early in the week. The former Florida wide receiver, Florida Gator. You guys remember him in the truly in the halcyon days of the Steve Spurrier era. He was one of the main receivers there and was an absolute stud. Played in the NFL for a while, and has been coaching in the NFL for most of his time since he retired as a player, most recently with the Pittsburgh Steelers. My thought on Ike Hilliard is this. He absolutely knows the position inside and out, and I think the players at that position are going to get the level of instruction that they signed up for, so to speak. I'm not sure they've been getting that. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. I'm talking about over the last 10 years. Not saying like last week. So to me, I think it's an upgrade coaching-wise. No disrespect to Eric Kiesau, who picked up wide receivers after Cornelius Williams was fired last year, but I think the quality of coaching at wideout just took a step up. The question is always going to be with like Hilliard, I think, can he recruit? He's got ties to Louisiana. He's got ties to Florida. The NFL thing, I think, is going to get him in a lot of doors and get him to pick up the phone and talk with a lot of people. It's just going to be a matter of, can he go out? Does he have the cachet to go out and pull 4, and preferably 5-star wide receivers and get them to Auburn. That is a complicated answer that I think goes beyond his recruiting ability, things that we know as far as the effort to oust Harsin, that move having failed. He's still here. A lot of people look at him as a lame duck, even though it's no fault of his own. A lot of complicated issues there. I personally think that Ike Hilliard's going to be good, but I kind of have to say that, right? Like, he looks good on paper. I would say this, knowing what I know and what we know about this staff situation right now, because it's tenuous. I mean, if they were to get off on the wrong foot next year and things get bad and they're like 3-4, I think they're going to fire him. So it's kind of tenuous. You really want to make sure you're hiring a whiteout coach in that situation who is a absolutely, no doubt about it, major benefit on the recruiting trail. And so, to me, you're banking on Ike Hilliard's recruiting ability without really knowing it. Now, he may end up being an absolute stud. Or he might be average. I don't think he's going to be bad. So that's the question. That's the gamble. It's the gamble of how good of a recruiter is he versus who can we actually hire, right? Because it's not like everybody's coming to Auburn right now. People know what the deal is at Auburn. They know about Harsin. They know about the efforts to get him out. They feel like he's an unpopular coach in his own homeland. Like, it's not a good situation. So it's all about balance. I think it's a good hire, but we're just going to have to see. The way we're going to judge that hire is by the dudes he's going to be able to pull or not pull, period. I mean, he passed his first test because Javarius Johnson's coming back. I reported that on the bunker Friday around lunchtime. Javarius Johnson, who went in the portal, the slot receiver, from here in state, is going to be back. He will come back, and he's going to rejoin the team on Monday. So to me, that's an Ike Hilliard. He influenced that, and Javarius is on board with that. So that's good. They need to get him back. He's going to be a frontline number 1 wide receiver for them next year. There we go. Doug D says, move Jabari. Talking about some of the staffing issues in basketball. Move Jabari to the 3, a position he has not played this year or in his life. Jalen to the 4 when we need a spark. Try it. Heck, it can't get any worse than Cambridge and Flanny. It sounds easier. It's easier said than done. It's hard to ask Jabari, who plays 4 in this offensive system, to go play 3. And the 3 and the 4 are different. The 3 is really a wing, and Jabari's, well, I guess he's kind of a winger 4 in a way. It's tough, man, to throw that responsibility on young players like that, particularly one who's young and really good at playing 4. Like, he's really freaking good. You could make the argument he's the best 4 in the league. So why don't you just say, leave the best 4 in the league there and figure out solutions to the other problems? That's how I would approach it. You don't take your biggest strength and change it. That's just me talking. Although I do understand what your frustrations over Dev and Al. I get it, man. Particularly with Al. You're not mad at him. You're just like, come on, man. I need you to get into first gear. You know what I mean? SSim008 with another super chat. What an absolute legend. Back to basketball. Can Kessler play at a high level with teams that have legit big men? I can't remember him playing well against good big dudes. However, I've been drinking. That's a good suffix there. Well, he played pretty well against Oscar Tshiebwe from Kentucky, right? Who else has been a really formidable big? I mean, Castleton he's not played well against. He was okay against him in the first game, was not very good in the second game. Today, really, there wasn't a big dude against him today, was there? I guess it's just kind of a matter of opinion on what the big guys are. Let me take a look at his game by game. Let's see, his offensive rating has been in the triple digits for like 15 straight games. The last bad game he had, from a Ken Palm perspective anyway, was against Alabama on January 11th. He only had 1 of 1 in that game. Oh, he was in so much foul trouble. That's right. I forgot about that. So he's had an offensive rating above 100 in like whatever the last 15 games since then. including a 151 against Vanderbilt. Good God, he's been the MVP like 10 times in the last 15 games. But Florida is a notable outlier. He did not have a great game against Florida the first time, and he did not have a good game against Florida the second time. Although it was better, I guess. He was 5 of 6 from the floor against this in Florida in this last game, but only had 3 rebounds and had 0 blocks. So it's kind of a weird deal there. And I don't look at Castleton as like some big ass, I don't know, man. I'd be curious to see what Walker does against some of the really gnarly, like big guys, like Kofi Coburn or something like that, from Illinois. There's a dude, actually, there's 2 dudes at Purdue that are just big old dudes. I don't know. I just don't know if he's getting that kind of challenge in the SEC. Let's see. Corey was back talking. Well, not back. I'm sorry. I'm going back a little bit on the time frame here, but he's talking about Ike Hilliard. Coach up the wide receivers and coach of the wide receivers Auburn has and grabbed 2 from the portal. And I think we're good. Helps out that Javarius is pulling his name out of the portal. Yeah, I agree. But it needs to be 2 impact guys. And the problem is that there's a lot of teams out there trying to pilfer the transfer portal right now. Auburn's one of many, and it's hard. This is just me talking. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. It's hard for me to see how Auburn is going to market itself as being significantly better than, say, whatever. The teams that Auburn would be battling, Ole Miss, that has Jackson Dart coming back or coming in, LSU, Arkansas, teams like that. How is Auburn going to distinguish itself, among its rivals? Say, well, we got Ike Hilliard, and they're going to be like, okay, I like him. What else? Well, we got dude from Texas A&M, Calzada. Okay, what else? Have you guys set any records? Have you put a bunch of dudes in the league? Haven't really seen that yet. The Canoe Man is in the house. He opens up with a salvo saying 1 a.m. beaches. That's a great way to start, my man. Let's see. Daniel P. wants to know, has anyone blamed the second half offensive ineptitude on Brian Harson's presence yet? Yes, on the bunker they have. They told him to stay the hell away from the basketball team, which is the perfect bunker answer. I love it. Absolutely love it. That made me laugh. Okay, Doug. I'm sorry. Doug was clarifying his position on making some personnel changes. He said, I'm not saying move Jabari away from the floor, just for a couple minutes to give us a spark. Get Green downhill and dish out to the 3. This time it will be Jabari, not Flanny and Cambridge. Again, I have run this, not this specific scenario, but I've run similar scenarios by the coaching staff in previous seasons. It was like with Chuma. It was like, well, why don't you just move Chuma? And they were like, look, man, we leave Chuma where he is because young guys, we want to train them to be great at one position, and maybe later in their careers we start moving them around a little bit. But it's hard enough to figure out how to handle one position really well. We can't be going around just trying to get other dudes to learn 3 positions. And I think Jabari's a special player. You guys know that. What's up, man? You want to see my dog? Come here, big papa. Oh, look at him. Can you say hello to the peoples? Can you say hello to the peoples?
My name is Maverick, and I'm a badass, and I love Jabari Smith, right?
Oh, damn.
Come on, let's go.
It's going to be that time? Oh, I'm getting the wrap it up signal from the young lady here. That was my dog, Maverick. My dog. SSIM008 says, force the assassin to call in. I don't think I'm going to tonight, man. Canoe Man says, heading home from Knoxville. The Vols really wanted this one, and they were loud. Any thoughts, administrative assistant, on this loss from the Auburn Tigers?
I didn't see it.
She says she didn't see it. You were busy with 90 Day Fiancé? What does that mean?
I got it in there.
Oh, yeah. Am I allowed to say that on the air?
It's not anything personal.
She got her nails done. I didn't. Kevin B says Pug on demand. I love it. Pug. He's a good dog. He's just he's very loyal. He's very loyal. He's just he's like a bull in a china shop. He's like Katie Johnson all the time, running around the house, running into shit, tearing up shit. He's just a pain in the ass. All right, we'll probably wrap it up there, guys. I think we've said it all. I have run my mouth nonstop for now an hour and 10 minutes. Can you believe that? It's crazy. I don't know. It's just crazy to me that I get to do this, and you guys make it possible. Because without you, I would not be able to do it. That's for damn sure. I want to, before we bounce out of this bad boy, I want to personally, come here. Yeah, I want my channel. Of course I do. Thank our, what do you think about Super Chatters, Courtney?
Love them.
Of course you do. You absolutely love them. You adore them, each. Our Super Chatters today include legends such as SSim008, Cleveland Brown, Corey Dubb, Obby Laker, Steve R., Sam H., Mobile alum. Man, she has been so supportive. Stephen N., Rain, Brad E., Kyle M. I missed that, didn't I? I missed Kyle M.'s Super Chat, and I'm sick to my stomach. Kyle, I love you, bro. I don't know how I did that. It's just embarrassing. I'm sorry, brother. Stu Pup, Ravine, SSim008. Oh, okay, I got you. I know what happened. I did pick it up, didn't I? That is actually War Eagle 0008. Yeah, I got you, bro. Thank you guys so much for supporting what we do here on the Brain Drain and watching and supporting us and just being badasses in general. So we've got next game is going to be Wednesday night, 8 o'clock tip again, though, at Mississippi State. That's going to be a big one because I think that's a tough one. I know the hump is about 100 years old, but that team is pretty tasty, and they need a win. They need that win to try to build some momentum for a postseason run of some kind. So going to have to keep an eye on that one for sure. I'll tell you what. So until we see you guys. Oh, Nana Mouse says Maine loves you, JG. Maine, the state of Maine. I think my dad. I know for a fact that my dad lives in Maine, so I'm thinking at least one person in Maine loves me. Although I can't confirm that because he doesn't really. He's not a big. He doesn't really tell me he loves me very much. Okay, he never does, but that's fine. No big deal. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up there, guys. Seriously, it's Saturday night. Go out there and have fun. Let's just make some good decisions. If you're drinking brown water, as I have been. Be sure and stay hydrated. I've got my water here. I've not been drinking it very well, though. Yeah, and if you're out there and you're loaded, get an Uber or have a designated driver or something like that. Yeah. So let's make great decisions out there, guys. Until we see you again, keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. I love you guys, and let's be great out there. See you guys Wednesday night. All right? Peace, love. See you.